Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So this is the video for lecture on week 2, okay, which is we are still in chapter 1. Okay, so this time we will learn about the other subtopic. Okay, it is about sampling technique, data collection method, and designing a questionnaire. So what is sampling? Okay, sampling is the scientific procedure of selecting a sample from a population. Okay, how do we select a sample from our population? Since the data obtained from the sample is used to generalize or to make a conclusion about the population, so the sample that we pick must be selected in such a way that it will accurately represent its population. Okay, in order to ensure the accuracy of the sampling process, so we must choose the appropriate sampling technique. Okay, what are the advantage of sampling? Or why do we need to do sampling? Okay, because it cuts the cost of the research and cuts the time of the research to get the accurate sample result, and our data will be more reliable. Okay, so this is the definition of sampling technique. Okay, sampling technique is the method of selecting representative samples from our population. Okay, the samples selected must be random and representative of the respective population. There are two types of sampling technique. Okay, the first one is non-probability sampling technique and probability sampling technique. Okay, then the second one is the definition of sampling frame. Okay, what is the sampling frame? Okay, sampling frame is the list of individual or list of item from which the sample can be obtained. Okay, some examples of sampling frames are, for example, the list of school teachers in the country. Okay, meaning that we want to obtain the sample, okay, sample which is the school teachers in the country. So our sampling frame is the list, okay, the list of school teachers in the country, meaning that from where we obtain our sample. So our sample is the school teachers in the country. So where do we get our sample? Okay, so we obtain our sample from the list of school teachers in the country. So the list of school teachers in the country is the sampling frame. Okay, and another example, if you want to know, other sampling frame are the list of Malaysians who own luxury cars, the list of credit card holders, or the list of homes in certain housing area. Okay, so meaning that the answer for sampling frame, okay, will always have the word of a list, okay, in front the sample. Okay, a list of what, so that are our sampling frame. Okay, as I mentioned before, sampling technique divided into two types. Okay, the first one is non-probability and the second one is probability sampling technique. For non-probability sampling technique, we have four techniques. Okay, the first one is convenience sampling, judgmental sampling, snowball sampling, and quota sampling. Meanwhile, for probability sampling technique, we have five sampling technique. The first one is SRS, simple random sampling, simple random sampling SRS, systematic sampling, cluster sampling, stratified sampling, and multi-stage sampling. So for convenience sampling, okay, this is the definition for convenience sampling. The definition of convenience sampling takes from the name itself, convenience. It means that the procedure, okay, where the selection of respondent, okay, we want to select the respondent, the procedure in convenience sampling is at convenience of the researcher. Okay, usually we choose our correspondent because they happen to be in the right place or in the right time. Okay, contohnya macam interview jalanan. Orang tu datang, okay, so kita buat interview dekat orang tu sebab orang tu berada di masa dan tempat yang kita nak tu. Okay, masa dan tempat yang betul. Okay, second one is judgmental sampling. Okay, judgmental sampling is the procedure of selecting respondent for research based on the judgment of the researcher. Okay, the researcher selects the respondent that he feels possess certain characteristic that represent the population of his interest. Okay, for example, if a researcher is doing a study on illegal trader, contohnya lah, okay, study on illegal trader who sell pirate CD or pirate DVD on the street. So the researcher will go to the street and look for the respondent based on a certain characteristic. Okay, contohnya characteristic dia illegal trader and pirate CD DVD. So the characteristic of illegal traders and pirate CD ataupun DVD depend on the experience of a researcher, such as not having a proper shop, selling items at low prices, and looking suspicious all the time. Okay. Next, snowball sampling. Okay, for snowball sampling, it is a procedure of selecting respondents based on the information provided by earlier respondent. Okay, we have the first respondent, and then the first respondent tell us about the second respondent. So maksudnya second respondent tu kita dapat daripada first respondent yang beritahu kita. Okay. So the researcher only needs to identify the first respondent. Okay, so maksudnya nanti first respondent akan bagi tahu kita siapa yang sesuai untuk jadi second respondent kita, and then second respondent akan bagi tahu yang third siapa yang sesuai jadi yang third respondent, and so on lah. Dia akan jadi proses yang continuously, okay, until enough respondents are obtained. Okay, biasanya kita buat snowball sampling ni untuk data yang macam susah nak keluar. Data ni susah nak dapat. Okay, contohnya hal-hal yang private lah. Contohnya lah case buang anak, lahirkan anak luar nikah and then buang anak. Memang susah sangat kita nak cari respondent. Okay, tapi bila kita dah dapat first respondent, and then first respondent tu bila dia dah selesa dengan kita, dia akan cerita. Mungkin dia ada kenal kawan dia yang dalam kes yang sama yang boleh jadi respondent kedua kita. Okay, sebab respondent ni susah nak kita dapat. Bukannya kita pergi mana-mana dekat supermarket ke kat mana-mana kita terus jumpa orang tu, bukan. Okay, data ni adalah data yang sulit. Okay, so this technique is appropriate, okay, when we are trying to get a group of specific respondent who are difficult to find. Okay, macam yang case yang tadi lah. Okay, we continue with the quota sampling. Okay, in quota sampling, it is the procedure of selecting respondent who have the certain characteristic determined by our study. Dia lebih kurang macam convenient sampling tadi, tapi dia lain sikit in term of the flexibility. Okay, flexibility of the researcher to choose the respondent. Okay, contohnya dia maksudnya dia depends kepada researcher untuk choose respondent dia, untuk provide any specification yang dia nak lah. Contohnya lah, the researcher wants 100 respondents, okay, yang terdiri daripada 40 male and 60 females. So maksudnya dia dah tetapkan dia nak 100, nak 40 laki, 60 perempuan. So tak ada element of probability. Kenalah cari 40 laki, 60 perempuan. Okay, tak ada probability. So maksudnya the sample can be controlled for a certain characteristic lah by the researcher. Okay, SRS, simple random sampling. Okay, this method is used when the population is homogeneous and the sampling frame is available. Okay, there are two methods that using SRS. The first one is lottery method or lucky draw method, and the second one is random number table, okay, generated from statistical package. Okay, for the first one, which is a lottery method or lucky draw method, suppose we have 5 students as our sample, okay, from the class of 40 students. Okay, so 40 students is our population and 5 is our sample. Okay, so we want to use that sample 5 of students. Kita ada 40 orang tadi population kita, and then kita nak pilih 5 orang sebagai sampel. So cara nak pilih, method of choosing our sample, iaitu macam mana nak pilih 5 orang ni. Kalau kita gunakan lottery method or lucky draw method, okay, the first step is we should have a list of 40 students name. Sebab population kita tadi 40 orang, so mesti ada nama 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dan hinggalah 40 orang. Okay, then we need to write each of these 40 names in a piece of paper, and then masukkan dalam box and mix them. Okay, and then draw. Okay, macam lucky draw tu lah kan, draw one name randomly and then repeat for 4 more times until we get 5 names. Okay, so maksudnya kita ada 5 sample lah, 5 corresponding names as our sample. So itu cara buat lottery method ataupun nama lain dia lucky draw method. Okay, second one is for random number table. Okay, dia guna statistical package. Okay, for example, in the same case, if we want to choose 5 samples from 40 peoples, okay, 40 students, so the first step is we need to have a list of these 40 names. Okay, and then we need to generate different random numbers. Okay, different random numbers. Nak generate random numbers ni, kita gunakan package statistical lah. Okay, contohnya lah, nombor yang keluar random number tu dia bagi 15, 31, 15, 31, 27, 02, 11. Okay, random number ni sistem tu lah yang keluarkan. And then daripada list of 14 people tadi, satu nama dia Abu ke, 2 Ali, sampailah the 14 people. So kita ambil lah 15 tadi nama siapa? Ambil orang ni. 31 nama siapa? Orang ni. 27 orang mana? Orang yang ni. 2 orang yang ni, Ali. 11 orang yang mana? So 5 orang ni lah yang akan jadi kita punya sample. Okay, itu cara nak pick sample Okay, with using random number table. Okay, random number table or lottery method, dua-dua ni adalah termasuk dalam SRS. Okay, next one is the systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is also used when our population is homogeneous and the sampling frame is available. Okay, in systematic sampling, the researcher needs to divide the population size. Okay, the population size is the capital N. Okay, capital N. And then divides capital N, which is the population size, by the intended sample size, which is the lowercase n. Okay, to obtain the range. Okay, range K is equals to population size divided by sample size. So, when the value of R is obtained, not R, K. Okay, when the value of K is obtained, K is our range. So, one number is then randomly selected from the first K elements in the list. Okay, for example, in the case of we want to choose samples from population of 1,800 employees. Okay, our population is 1,800 employees. Okay, and then we want to choose sample of 300 employees. Okay, we want to choose sample of 300 from 1,800. Okay, if we are about to use systematic sampling, so all we need to do is first we need to find what is our K range K. So our K is 1080 divided by 300. Okay, so it is equal to 6. So our range is 6. Okay. Okay, and remember just now we have a list of 1,800 employees as our population. So we have the list of name of 1800 people. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 until 1800 list of names. Okay, and then okay, and then second step is we need to use lucky draw method. Okay, lucky draw method is the method from SRS tadi ya. Lucky draw method maksudnya kita pick randomly one number. Let's say kita pick randomly number 2. Nombor 2 kita pilih. Okay, so maksudnya kita pilih nombor 2. List nombor 2 ni sebagai responden kita. Contohnya nombor 2 ni nama dia Aminah. Okay, ni nama Ali, Abu, yang paling senang lah Yasin, B, apa nama orang B? Basar, apa lagi? Anas, Aiman, Alif, Faiz, Farah, dan so on lah sampailah orang yang ke 1800. And then tadi second step kita buat lucky draw method tadi. Contohnya kita pick number 2 kan. Kita pick, ambil, dapat nombor 2. Okay, and then from number 2, maksudnya nombor 2 ni kita pilih orang ni sebagai kita punya sample. And then use our value of K tadi. Our K is 6. Range dia 6. So maksudnya daripada 2 tambah 6. 2 tambah 6 iaitu 8. So maksudnya kita akan pick orang yang ni. Okay, 8 tambah 6 lagi. Tambah 6 iaitu 14. So kita akan pick nama yang ke-14. tambah 6 lagi 20. So kita akan pick number yang 20. Okay, kita akan ulang sampailah range dia 6 tambah 6 tambah 6 tambah 6 tambah 6 sampailah cukup 300 sampel. Okay, itu cara nak conduct systematic sampling. Okay, harap faham semua. Okay, the next one is stratified sampling, strata. In this method, okay, we have a population and then we need to divide the population into subgroup. Okay, yang subgroup ni namanya strata. And then how do we choose our sample? Okay, the sample is collected by randomly select elements from each strata. Okay, contohnya we have a diploma program. And then from diploma program is our population, and then this population is divided into subgroup. Okay, for example, subgroup of accountancy, finance, computer science, what else, mathematics contohnya lah, business study. Okay, so this is our population. Okay, and our population is divided into subgroup. Okay, these are our subgroup. Okay, which is called as strata. Okay, then from each group, okay, we randomly select element from this each group. Maksudnya daripada accountancy kita select our sample. Finance pun kita select our sample, beberapa sample. Computer science pun kita select beberapa sample. Daripada mathematics pun kita select beberapa sample. And then from business study pun samalah, kita select beberapa sample. Macam mana cara nak select ni? Guna use SRS or systematic sampling. Systematic. Okay, yang macam yang kita belajar tadi. Sebagai kita punya sample. Okay, so maksudnya itu secara nak buat stratified sampling. Okay, cluster sampling. Okay, in cluster sampling, we divide our population, okay, into subgroup, same as the stratified sampling tadi. Kita divide into subgroup. Okay, tapi subgroup ni nama dia cluster. Okay, then the cluster are randomly selected and a sample is collected by randomly selected elements from each cluster. Okay, let's say macam tadi, kita ada diploma program. And then from diploma program, kita bahagikan kepada accountancy, finance, computer science, maths, business study. Okay, so yang ni kita panggil, setiap satu ni kita panggil sebagai cluster. Okay, then from cluster ni kita tak pilih semua cluster. Macam tadi yang dalam strata kita pilih sampel daripada semua strata. Tapi sekarang ni daripada cluster yang ada 5 ni, kita pick randomly. Okay, pick randomly. Contohnya kita pilih finance saja, maths saja dan business saja. Sebagai maksudnya kita ambil finance, computer science, maths. Okey, nak pilih ni, pilih 3 ataupun pilih 4 ke apa, ini menggunakan SRS ataupun systematic sampling tadi. Okey, then semua student daripada finance, semua student daripada computer science dan semua student daripada maths akan jadi our sample. Okey, itu cara cluster sampling. Dia lain daripada stratified sampling. Okay, the last one is multi-stage sampling. Okay, this method is designed to reduce time and cost when working with samples from very large population. Okay, let us assume that we need a random sample of 2,000 residents from Malaysia population. Okay, contohnya residents of population Malaysia ni jadi kita punya population, and then we want to select sample of 2,000 peoples. Okay, so since Malaysia consists of 14 states with many district, okay, ada 14 14 negeri, and then dalam negeri pun ada banyak daerah. Okay, dan setiap daerah tu ada kampung-kampung lagi. So, kita boleh apply multi-stage sampling. Okay. Okay, step 1. Macam mana nak apply multi-stage sampling? Okay, for this case, okay, the first step is we need to select district at random. Sorry, bukan district, state. Dalam negara kita ada negeri. So kita select contohnya 4 states at random. Kita pilih 4 negeri je randomly. And then daripada 4 negeri tu kita choose 5 district, 5 daerah daripada setiap 4 negeri tu. And then dalam daerah tu, dalam setiap 5 daerah yang kita pilih lagi 10 orang ataupun 20 orang dalam setiap daerah tu. So maksudnya awak boleh nampak daripada negara kita masuk kepada negeri, masuk lagi dalam daerah, masuk lagi dalam kampung. So itu namanya multi-stage sampling. Okay, this is the difference between stratified sampling and cluster sampling. Okay, macam yang saya tunjuk tadi. Okay, for stratified sampling, okay, this is our strata. Okay, setiap satu ni adalah kita punya strata. Ni strata. And then dalam setiap strata kita pilih sampel kita. Okay, itu nama stratified sampling. Meanwhile, in cluster sampling, this is our cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, cluster 4, cluster 5, cluster 6. And then we pick randomly 2 clusters. For example, kita pilih cluster ni dengan cluster ni saja. Then all the peoples in these 2 clusters, we pick them as our sample. Okay, so these are the difference between these 2 method of sampling. Okay, for each of these technique of sampling, okay, there are strength and weakness. Okay, strength and weakness for each of this one. Okay, for convenient sampling, the strength is least expensive, least time consuming, and most convenient. But the selection is biased, sample not representative, not recommended by descriptive or casual research. For judgmental sampling, okay, the strength is low cost, convenient, not time consuming, ideal for exploratory research design. But the weakness is does not allow generalization. Okay, it is subjective. And then for quota sampling, okay, the sample can be controlled for certain characteristic, but the selection is biased and no assurance. Snowball sampling can estimate rare characteristic. Okay, rare, karakteristik yang rare. Contohnya kes-kes yang rare macam saya katalah. But it is time consuming. SRS, okay, it is easily understood and the result is projectable, but it is difficult to construct sampling frame, expensive, lower precision, and no assurance of representativeness. For systematic sampling, it can increase representativeness, easier to implement than simple randomly sampling. Sampling frame not always necessary, but it can decrease representativeness. Okay, then in stratified sampling, it includes all important subpopulation and precision, but it is difficult to select relevant stratification variables, not feasible to stratify on many variables, and expensive. The last one is for cluster sampling. It is easy to implement and cost effective, but it is imprecise, difficult to compute and interpret result. Okay, next we move on to data collection method. Okay, there are various data collection method such as face-to-face interview, phone interview, direct questionnaire, mail questionnaire, direct observation. Other methods such as internet survey, SMS, email and Google Form. Okay, yang biasa dibuat adalah yang ni. Okay, yang biasa. Direct observation susah. Okay, sebab kalau direct observation, kita record the real situation. Okay, it is not influenced by what people say or people think. Okay, and untuk direct observation, dia ada disadvantage. Okay, disadvantage-nya adalah dia memerlukan researcher yang ada high skill dan not bias. Okay, kebanyakan researcher dia suka design a questionnaire. Okay, the written questionnaire, okay, selalu digunakan oleh researcher to collect the data. Okay, sebab dia nak tahu opinion ataupun perception, expectation or satisfaction ataupun emotion. Okay. In questionnaire kita ada demographic variable jugalah, such as kita kena collect the age of the respondent, umur dia, income, contohnya bila perlulah income tu qualification, social status, gender, maybe the occupation, okay, race ataupun ethnic group. Okay. Okay, questionnaire is usually the cheapest method. Okay, yang paling yang paling murah lah method yang paling murah untuk gather information from the respondent. Okay, compared to the contohnya telephone interview ataupun personal interview. Okay, so however, the question in the questionnaire must be prepared carefully. Okay, because the respondent has the liberty of not responding, especially if the question are badly formulated or the question is very sensitive, so the respondent choose to not answer that question. So you must prepare your questions in your questionnaire carefully. Okay. Okay, these are the things that you need to remember when you are designing your questionnaire. Okay, the first one is your questionnaire should be as short as possible. Okay, need to avoid doubt and confusion and vagueness. And you should avoid biased question. Okay, avoid double-barreled question. Avoid leading question and avoid asking questions that are beyond the respondent's capability. And the last one is you need to avoid questions that involve calculation. Okay, so these are the points to you as your guideline in designing your questionnaire. Okay, your questionnaire should be short and simple, and avoid any controversial question. Okay, avoid sensitive question, and you also must make sure that there are no errors in your questionnaire. Contohnya tak ada ejaan yang salah. Okay, supaya, dan juga ni lah, kena elakkan benda-benda ni supaya tak ada kejadian yang orang tu tak nak jawab soalan. So maksudnya semua soalan dia nak jawab, okay, dan boleh jawab. Okay, so these are some of the past year question. Okay, past year question ni kita akan bincangkan dalam kelas tutorial. Okay, you all boleh buat yang ni. And then this one. And also this one. Okay, kita akan bincangkan dalam kelas tutorial. Okay, so this is the end of chapter 1. Okay, this all of our recorded lecture video from week 1 until week 14 later on can be found in YouTube channel. Okay, my YouTube channel. Okay, so this is the end of my video for lesson in week 2. Okay, so see you next time in our tutorial class. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.